Alrighty guys, welcome to this video. In this tutorial we're going to talk about this week. So week 2, you're just going to create another banner. I'm going to show you a few more animation things, and I just kind of want to make sure we have solidified these basic, animation techniques that we can do with GreenSock. So we're just going to create another banner. I'm going to show you some more things. It's going to be similar to where, it needs to be clickable, but this time I want you to animate the scale of something. I want you to animate the rotation. I want you to have some things rotate. I want you to use some more of the eases that we talked about last week. And I mean, basically just take everything you've learned so far and just keep using it. And just, you can use things from last week, that's fine, but just, think of another idea to do the animated banner. You can, or to be honest, I mean, I would be okay if you took, because this is what I'm going to do in this video, if you took what you did last week and just improved upon it and made it better. That's fine too. But I just want another banner made this week. So you're going to animate the scale, animate the rotation. You're going to use different eases. Go back on the site, use some ones that you haven't used before. Make sure, and you're going to have a repeating animation that loops. And I'm going to show you how to make it seamless. So make sure whatever looping animation you have on your banner that it doesn't jump. You'll see what I mean. And just make sure that it's seamless and it looks like it's meant to just go on forever. Okay, and then it needs to be clicked. Or it needs to be clickable. And then of course when you're done, put it on your host and post the link. Alright, so this is what we had last week. Okay, we had some CSS. Let me open it up real quick. Okay, so Sam comes in again. Sam's amazing. Now, maybe I want to have more. Maybe there's a meet and greet with Sam or something. I'm just going to start adding new things here, and we will keep animating them as we've been doing before. So I'm going to animate some more text. Okay, so I'm going to put in here, div ID, we'll call it text2. And maybe it's a meet and greet. So we're going to say meet him today. And I'm going to come down here. I want to line that up there. Okay, and then maybe I want to, have this, yay, get rid of Steam here. So maybe I want to just have this one fade in. Just say, hey, you can meet him today, because the ads are going to talk about, hey, Sam's in town and we can meet him. Yay, and we love Sam. All right, so I'm going to do another from. Okay, I'm going to animate text2. Okay, I'm going to have it be 1 second. Then I'm just going to animate the opacity. Okay, and 0. And remember, we're animating it from, so that's where it's starting. So it's from opacity 1, and it's going to go to being how it is on the page. So we're going to start it at opacity 0 to make it invisible, and then it's going to animate to opacity 1. All right, so I can save that, but I am going to want to come over here and style this up a little bit. Because to be honest, I don't even think that's going to show up right now. Oh, it was right there, but it got pushed down. I don't know if you could see it, but it was there and it got pushed down. So we need to kind of give it some styles here so we can tell it exactly what to be and where to go and all that fun stuff. So I'm just going to copy all this because I just don't want to type it all out because it's all going to be similar. Okay, so the color is going to be the cornflower blue, height, width, that's fine, position absolute, top, yep, right 30. Now, I don't want it to be exactly over text 1, so I'm going to higher the top a little bit, and I'll say, I don't know, 50. Let's move it down a little bit. Okay, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, now it's there, it's showing, so we don't want that. So of course I'm going to have to make the opacity, I need to make it, invisible. No, just kidding. Remember down here I said it's animating from opacity 0, so we don't have to make it invisible. I just am a dork and forgot to put the pound sign. So there we go. So now it's not there. We're waiting. Okay, it bounces in. Sam's amazing. Meet him today. It came in. Now I'm going to move that over a little bit just so it's a little more centered. So, right, we're going to say more like 25. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Now, I get it, guys. This could look way better. Trust me, I get it. This is more showing you how to do it than focusing on design. You guys should definitely be focusing on design. I should be looking at better fonts and such, and I'd probably, not want to have these be hard corner pictures. I mean, there's a bunch of different things I could do. I should probably have some sort of background, but that's things, that you guys can work on throughout the week. All right, so I got that in there. Let's go down. I'm going to add some more text here. Let's go div ID equals text3. And so I want to tell them where they can meet them. Well, they can go have some chicken crack at Chick-fil-A. Okay, that stuff is impossible to, oh yeah, it's just too dang good. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to animate that now. So from text3, remembered the pound sign that time. We'll have it take 1 second. Okay, and this is where we can animate some other things. Let's put in the curly brackets here. So I want to animate the scale. Okay, the scale is just kind of how big it is. So I'm going to start it out at 0.2. Okay, you'll see what this does here in a minute, and I'm going to give it an ease. So I'll say ease. I'll have this one bounce too. Okay, so we'll have that there. And then I also, let's take a look. You can see that it was down there, it went away, so we do need to position it. So to be honest, it's going to be really similar to this. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So we got text3, height, width, all that's fine. Position, that's where we got to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to say the position is going to be top, say about 80. Okay, and I'm going to keep the right at 25. Because all I really wanted to do is move it down a little bit. All right, so I refreshed. You can see it, it's right there. Okay, and then it comes in, right? But the problem there is, well, it's small and we can see it and we don't really want to see it, right? So we can come in here and say, all right, we're going to animate the scale. So it's going to start from 0.2 and then it's going to go to the normal size that we defined. But we're also going to, do the opacity, which I'm pretty sure we did last week. So it's going to start at, so just think when you say from, that's what it starts at. So it starts at a 0.2 scale, the opacity is 0, so it's invisible, and then it'll animate in. So it's gone now, you can't see it. Okay, meet him today, and then it came in. All right, so it went from opacity 0 and a scale of 0.2, and it got bigger, and it became visible. All right, so that's how you do scale. Pretty simple. Now, just so you know, like a scale of 2 is basically saying, I think, double the size. Yeah. So when I made it from a scale 2, it was double the size, so it started out big, and then it went smaller. So that's just another effect you can have. Okay, but I'm good with the 0.2. All right, so throw in some more text here. So text 4. Now it's just obvious, so we want to say we love Sam, because we love Sam. Everyone loves Sam. He's amazing. All right, so come down here. We're going to animate that now. So from come on, text 4. 1 second here. Now I want this one to come like rotating in basically. I want to kind of do a fly in. I want it to be kind of over here and it flies in right here and says, hey, we love Sam, because Sam's amazing. Right, so the way we can do that is, again, we're doing from, so I'm going to say top of 100, so it's going to be 100 pixels from the top. Okay, the rotation I want it to do is negative 180 degrees, and you can play with this number to kind of get what you want. And then I want it to animate from 500 pixels from the left. Okay, and then I want this to ease in a little bit, but I'm not going to use bounce this time. I'm going to use power 2, which, if you remember from the website, it's a little bit of it speeds up and slows down and eases out that way. Okay, so we'll save that. We'll take a look. Okay, now remember, right, we didn't define the CSS properties here, so it doesn't really know what to do or how to start from. So I'm going to come over here and we are going to style out text4. Right, so height, all that's going to be the same. Now the top, I want it to be pretty far down here. So where I basically now I kind of need to tell it where I want it to end up. This is where it's going to stop. So when it's done, because remember we're animating from, so it's starting at top 100, left 500, and then it's going to end wherever I define it here. So I'm going to say about 200 from the top, and then instead of it being from the right, I want it to be 25 from the left, because with that, I just basically want it to show up here, is kind of what I'm wanting here. Okay, so then now that I've defined where I want it to be when it ends and such, that's why it wasn't working before, because it didn't really know where to end up. So now I told it where to end up and such. We can take a look at it. So if we look right top, so it's going to be about right up here. Okay, left 500, that puts it kind of somewhere around here. So it's around here kind of when it starts, and then it rotates, and then it comes in, and we'll take a look. So it comes in, Sam's amazing, yep, meet him today, Chick-fil-A, and then it comes in and it rotates. You can see that it kind of rotated as it came in. That's what that negative 180 came. But I mean, we can play with that number, right? We could say 360, see if that even does anything. Yep, so it kind of does more of it kind of rotated this way with the negative 180, it's rotating that way. So again, you know, you can play around with it with the numbers to get the type of effect that you're looking for. Now we're also running into a problem here. It kind of takes a while now, right? We got to wait for that, and then finally the one that we want to look at comes flying in. Well, there's a way to actually, it's called seeking, to where if you just want to test one animation over and over again until you get it right, you can do that. You can jump to that animation so it will do kind of what you want, which is nice. All right, so it's called seeking. So what we got to do is you got to take the animation that you want to jump to. So we're going to jump to this one we just did, and we have to give it a name. So we're going to go outside the curly bracket, we're going to hit comma, and I'm just going to call it jump because it's what we're jumping to. And then I'm just going to end out the animation here with the semicolon. Okay, and the way you can do it is you say, all right, we're going to go to the timeline 1 and we're going to seek. In other words, we're going to look for something on timeline 1 and we're seeking for jump. And then we end that out. And that's it. So you just give a name, you know, instead of here where we were giving the offset. We're not doing that here. We're just giving it a name. We're calling it jump, and then right here we're saying go to timeline 1 and seek for the animation that has the name of jump and play it. And skips over all of these other animations. So when we save that, we refresh, we can see all it's doing is animating the We Love Sam. So that's a nice way if you have a bunch of animations happening beforehand that you can run that, and so that's the only one that you're seeing here, which is slick. Okay, and then of course when you're done and you want to see the whole thing, you can just comment it out. So I commented it out, and then I refresh, and then the whole thing plays again. Okay, cool. So that's how you seek. That's not really a requirement of the assignment. It's just I would definitely test that out and make sure that you can get it to work because it's very, very useful. All right, so now I have kind of everything I want, all the text, everything flying in the way I want, but now I want to have some sort of background that's looping. This is part of the assignment. You got to have some sort of animation that loops. So if I hop into my folder here, I have this incredible background that I want to use, and I want it to kind of just go. I want it to go across. I want this to go across the background here and just loop. It just gives it a background, right? Yes, it's going to look stupid, but whatever. It shows you the concept. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I got to put it in there. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to throw in another div. I'm going to call it Sam background, and I don't have to put it in as an image or anything because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in as a background of this div. So that's all I'm going to do there. Okay, so now I want to go in here and I want to style this out. Now, be aware that you do need to do some, like what I'm going to have is I'm going to have it here, and it's just going to be going across looping. So you have to do some kind of make sure you understand what size everything is before you go. So when I went into Photoshop here, I made sure that the image was 320 pixels wide because that's the same width of my banner. Okay, the height didn't really matter that much, but when I created it, it was 320 pixels wide because if you come back to the code here, it's 300 or is it 320 or is it 300? Huh. Interesting. Well, for some reason I grabbed 320 and I'm not really sure why, but it worked. Maybe I can say, oh, who cares, and make it 320. Or actually, is that? Well, I mean, I guess you just got to make it close enough, right? And because also I do have kind of some space here, but you just want to make sure if you're doing what I'm doing here, if you're going to make the repeating background, then you'll want to make sure that it's at least close. Okay, you need to make sure that it's at least close to it. Hold on, I'm going to mess with this real quick. Yeah, that's kind of messing with things a little bit. That's okay. But we'll stick with 300, and the 320, it worked, and you'll see how. But like I said, it just needs to be something kind of close to it. And I have no idea how I got 320 to begin with, but it's okay. So 320, close to the same width. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to start styling it. So we have SamBG, because that's the ID. Right, so SamBG. And I'm going to do width 320, right? So it needs to be the same width as the picture. The height was 137. Right, so if I go image size, 137 is the height. So we want that to be the same. Okay, and then I'm going to throw in the background image. So the background image is going to be the sambg.png. That's what I saved it as. And if I save it and come take a look, you can see it was there, but it's getting pushed down when that thing grows because I haven't positioned it. Right, so I can do that now. I'm just going to say position absolute. Then I'm going to want it about 80 pixels from the top. And I'm going to offset it a little bit, so negative 10 pixels from the left. So it is a little bit off. Okay. All right, so there it is. Now, of course, we have some problems. It is in front of everything, which we don't want. So z index. Let's make it a large negative number. Okay, now it's behind everything. And that's what we want, obviously. Okay, now I'm going to start animating it a little bit, and then we will see what happens, and we'll play around with things as needed. And I'm already just going to tell you some of these things won't work as I do them because I kind of want to show you some issues I ran into and how I fixed them. So we have everything kind of styled where we want it. We have the background there. Everything should be okay. So I'm going to come down here. Now, I could, if I wanted to, just keep animating this on timeline 1, but I want to show you just how you can create another timeline. You can have multiple timelines running, doing different things. So I'm going to set up a timeline 2, and I'm going to call it new timeline max. Okay. And then timeline 2. Okay, and now I'm not going to do a from, I'm going to go to, because I'm going to animate it to. This is where I want it to kind of to stop at. So I'm going to be animating Sam BG. Okay, and I think 5 seconds is good for this. We can play around with it a little bit. Okay. Then we'll get ready to animate that. Now all I want to animate, all I want to change here is just the background position. So right now this is the background of the div. So all I want to do is just animate the position of this background of the div, and I just want it to move off of the canvas or the container div or whatever you want to call this. So all I want to do is take this and move it that way. So I'm going to animate. So to do that, yeah, I need to animate the background position. Now in CSS it goes like this, right? But we're in JavaScript right now. It doesn't understand the whole dash thing, so it camel cases it. So it's background position, and then we're changing the background position X on the X-axis because we're not moving it up and down or left. We're not moving it up and down. We're just doing left to right. So we're animating the background position on the X-axis. Okay, and we're going to animate that 320 pixels because that's how wide it is. Okay. So if we think it through, this isn't from, so it's not how we're starting, right? This is where it's going to end. So we want to take this and basically move it over 320 pixels. Because when we move it, this right here should be over here. Okay. All right, and then I want to define an ease, and the ease we want is power 0 because that didn't really have any ease on it at all. That's the one that just moved in a straight line with no speeding up and no slowing down. Okay, and then I'm going to close that out with the semicolon. All right, now we can take a look at this and see if anything happens. Okay, well, it's not moving, so we got to think this out. Okay, so why wouldn't it be moving? Well, we never defined a background position, so it doesn't know where to start. Remember, we're doing 2 here, so this knows where it needs to end up, where it needs to end, but it doesn't know where to start from. So we have to define that up here in the CSS. So because we haven't defined a background position, it can't go to background position X of 320 because it doesn't know where to start. So that's one thing we need to add over here. So we're going to say background position 0 pixels, 0 pixels. So we're basically, all we're saying is just, all right, start at 0, 0. In other words, start exactly where you are right now. Top 80, left negative 10. Okay. All right, so we told the background position where to start. Okay. Yeah, so anyways, we told it where to start. Now, it's still not working. And this is just me being stupid. And let's see if you can figure it out, right? Because you're going to be running into these same issues that I am. So what have I done wrong here? I'll just say pause the video right now and take a look and see if you can find it before I tell you. Okay, so right here I'm saying use timeline 2. Well, I only have a variable t2. Yeah, right? So again, another dumb mistake, but it happens. All right, so maybe, hopefully it'll work now. We'll see. There we go. So it's going, right? Which is cool. Now, the problem is I want this to just continuously loop. So even when all this animation is done, it still has some motion. It still does some things that kind of keeps people's attention drawn to it. All right, so the way we can do that is we just tell the timeline, and this is also another reason why we put this on its own timeline, because we wouldn't want this whole timeline to repeat, but we want this timeline to repeat. Because if we were to tell this one to repeat, well, then all this stuff would keep going and keep going, and we don't want that. All we want is just this background to keep moving like it's doing right now. Okay, so we come up here, and the way we can do that is we just define inside the timeline that we want it to repeat. So the timeline max, we say repeat -1. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know why -1 means repeat forever, but it does. It must just be a GreenSock thing, but anyways. So let's take a look. Okay, and it's just kind of going. It doesn't stop. It goes forever. And the cool thing is, if you pay really, it's probably going to look a little jerky on your screen because my frame rate isn't that high. But if I pay really close attention to this, you never really see it jerk. You never really see it jump. Uh-oh. Close out of that. Seems to be freaking out a little bit. Now, if I came over here and I messed with this number, 300, made it off by like 20 pixels. Again, I'm not really sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but after the 5 seconds that it plays, it kind of jumps a little bit. Yeah, you can see it shift over, and that's because it does that for the 5 seconds, but because it's not in the exact same spot for when it should start over again, it jerks over a little bit, and then it's bad. So that's why I say when you do this, it needs to be seamless, because I don't want it to have any jerky animation that shows that, hey, it's repeating. You want it to be just seamless, so it looks like it's just this continuous loop, just goes on forever, and you don't ever want to show any evidence of it restarting. All right, so when I put that back to 320, it'll fix that jerky that's going on there. Okay. Now, another thing to mention, save this real quick, is you can see that it just repeats on forever, and the reason why it's doing that is because by default it's repeating the background. So if you've done any CSS in the past, you'll know that when you put in a background, it just automatically repeats. So if I came up here, and I told it background repeat, no repeat, and I save that, you can see that it ends. So it plays that one time and then it goes away, and then it repeats the 20 seconds or the 5-second loop, boom, and then it goes. So you can see why you want this to line up, because the minute that first one finishes, that first animation finishes, you want it to start right here and start playing again, and that's why you have to line up the 320 really well and make sure that the width matches. Okay, so really you can just not define anything here, or you could just say background repeat, and you can say tell it just to repeat on the x-axis. That works too. And then you can see when it ends, boom, it's repeating, and it just kind of goes, and it looks like it just goes forever. Okay. Alrighty. So let's hop back here. We got scale, did the rotation, do the different easings. Make sure you have a repeating animation, and again, make sure it's seamless. Just make sure it goes somewhere and it's clicked. So that's it, guys. Good luck. Again, if you need help uploading things, right, or getting a host or getting a domain and all that kind of stuff, just remember, if you go to the home page of the course, there are some videos here to show you how to do that. Okay, this will show you how to get your domain. That'll show you how to get the web hosting and hook it up to your domain. And then that'll show you how to create an FTP account and then upload it that way. All right, if you have any questions, email me, let me know. Have an awesome week, guys. We'll see you.